Let us get right into it. Number 10. Whale testicle beer. Yes, Iceland really went there. Known for its breathtaking glaciers, fiery volcanoes, and now whale testicle beer. This bold brew is called Valor 2, and it comes from the tiny but fearless Stegi microbrewery. Now, let's talk ingredients. At the heart of every bottle is one massive, unforgettable centerpiece, a smoked whale testicle. But not just any whale, it comes from the endangered fin whale, instantly sparking international outrage and a flood of ethical debates. So how do you brew something this intense? Well, first you take the whale testicle and smoke it using sheep dung, a traditional Icelandic method that's been used for generations. Then you casually drop it into the brewing tank, like it's just another hop pellet. Some brave souls describe the taste as earthy or smoky. Others say it tastes like a bad decision at a Viking bachelor party. Either way, it's not for the faint of palate. At one point, Iceland's public health authorities actually banned the beer. But just like the whale it came from, it made a comeback. Stronger, smokier, and more controversial than ever. Today, Valor 2 is less about flavor and more about shock value, because nothing says cheers quite like sipping on fermented whale anatomy. Number 9. The Sourtoe Cocktail. If you've ever put your foot in your mouth while drunk, congratulations. You're halfway to understanding this drink. Welcome to Dawson City, Yukon, Canada. A place so cold even your cocktails need socks. Here at the downtown hotel, there's a drink on the menu that comes with one very special garnish. A real human toe. Yep, a dehydrated, preserved, blackened toe just floating in your glass like it belongs there. They call it the Sourtoe Cocktail, and it comes with only one rule. You can drink it fast, you can drink it slow, but your lips must touch that gnarly toe. No, that's not a dare. That's the official policy. This madness started back in the 1970s when someone found a toe preserved in an old jar of alcohol. Because that's just something you find in Canada, apparently. Naturally, the only logical response was to build a cocktail tradition around it. Since then, the Sourtoe Cocktail Club has become a legendary rite of passage. People fly in from all over the world just to press their lips against a salty, dead toe and live to tell the tale. Of course, over the years, multiple toes have been accidentally swallowed, because of course they have. But don't worry, the bar has a backup toe policy. All current toes are donated voluntarily, preserved in salt, and reused, which somehow doesn't make this any less horrifying. Yes, they follow hygiene protocols, but let's be honest, no amount of salt makes this normal. Number 8. Seagull Wine. Ever looked at a dead seagull and thought, yep, I'm gonna drink that? No, well, someone did. Deep in the frozen edges of the Arctic, where booze was harder to find than a tropical breeze, Seagull wine became the stuff of legend. The recipe? Take one dead seagull, shove it into a bottle, fill it with water, and let it ferment in the sun. Yes, sun-rotted bird juice, served warm, because nature hates you. This delightfully disgusting cocktail is rumored to have been created by Inuit communities during times when alcohol wasn't available, or maybe when the will to live was just low enough. Now, if you're wondering what it tastes like, you're not alone. Unfortunately, or fortunately, no one really knows. Modern reports of anyone drinking it are as rare as a sober Viking, except for one brave soul, journalist Suzanne Donahue, who once described the flavor as like drinking the fluid from a Toyota carburetor. Delicious! Whether this was a desperate survival technique or just what happens when you leave explorers alone with too much time and no liquor license, we may never know. But one thing's for sure, if someone in the Arctic offers you a homemade wine, check for feathers before you sip. Number 7. Frog juice. In local Peruvian markets, it's common to see a tank full of live Telmatobius frogs, sometimes critically endangered, just hanging out, until one unlucky little guy gets plucked, skinned, and tossed straight into a blender. Add some honey, aloe vera, maca root, and voila, you've got yourself a glass of froggy fuel. Locals claim it cures everything from asthma to impotence, and it's been sold as a magical medicine and natural aphrodisiac for decades. To them, it's tradition. To tourists, it's more like drinking a potion out of a fairy tale gone wrong. And yes, that bubbling cauldron vibe is real. The only thing missing is a witch in a pointy hat yelling, "Double, double toil and trouble." While many swear by its effects, the practice has raised eyebrows, especially among conservationists, because apparently saving endangered frogs takes a back seat to getting it on. Number 6. Kopi Luwak. Imagine paying $100 for a single cup of coffee. Now imagine that coffee was poop flavored, or rather poop produced. Meet Kopi Luwak, also known as civet coffee. It's one of the most expensive coffees in the world, and it all starts in the digestive system of a small, cat-like animal, the Asian palm civet. The civet eats ripe coffee cherries, but it doesn't digest the bean, just the fruity pulp. Inside its stomach, enzymes gently ferment the beans, And after about a day, the civet poops them out. Yes, the beans are collected, washed, thankfully, roasted, and brewed into what some people call the smoothest coffee on earth. Why all the hype? Some say the fermentation process reduces bitterness. Others say it's just clever marketing, but one thing's for sure, it's rare. And rarity means money. A single pound of wild-sourced Kopi Luwak can cost over $600. But here's the dark side. With rising demand, many civets are now kept in cages, force-fed coffee cherries, and denied natural diets or freedom.
Number 5. Black Ivory Coffee. In northern Thailand, Arabica coffee cherries are fed to elephants. Yes, elephants. The beans go on a journey through the elephant's massive digestive system, where natural fermentation takes place, breaking down proteins that cause bitterness. Then, well, nature takes its course. The beans are collected from elephant dung, carefully washed, sun-dried, and roasted. The result? A cup of coffee that some say tastes smoother, with notes of chocolate, spice, and wildflowers. And the price tag? About $500 per pound, making it one of the most expensive coffees on earth. Number 4. Cricket Flower Smoothie. Alright, let's cleanse our palate with bugs. Yes, bugs. Specifically, crickets. This is the Cricket Flower Smoothie, a surprisingly modern take on an ancient snack. Here's the deal. Crickets are roasted, dried, and ground into a fine, nutty-tasting powder. It's called cricket flour, and it's packed with protein, iron, B12, and omega-3s. Plus, it's super sustainable. Way less water, space, and emissions than traditional livestock. Blend it with some fruit, nut milk, and maybe a banana, and boom! You've got a superfood smoothie that's good for you and the planet. And the taste? Mildly nutty, slightly earthy, not bad at all. In fact, most people say you wouldn't even know there's a bug in your blender. Compared to elephant poop or frog juice, this might actually be the most normal thing on the menu. So, bug milkshake anyone? Number 3. Stag Semen Beer. Yes, you heard that right. This wild brew hails from Wellington, New Zealand, where brewers at Greenman Pub teamed up with a local deer farmer to create something unforgettable. They called it Stag Semen Stout, a rich, dark beer with an even darker secret. It was made for the Monteith's Wild Foods Challenge, a festival that celebrates the world's weirdest food experiments. So naturally, someone said, let's put deer semen in a stout, and they did. The process? Semen is collected, pasteurized, and gently folded into a chocolatey stout base. The result? A drink described as smooth, slightly salty, and, yep, a bit nutty. Is it delicious? Debatable. Is it unforgettable? Absolutely. It may not replace your favorite lager, but it will make you the most interesting person at the bar. Just maybe don't bring it to a first date. Number 2. Baby Mouse Wine. This rare and controversial drink comes from parts of China and Korea, where it's considered a traditional folk remedy. The recipe? Take freshly born mice, blind, hairless, barely squeaking, then drown them in a jug of rice wine and let it all ferment for about a year. According to believers, it's said to cure asthma, boost liver health, and increase vitality. According to everyone else, it's basically nightmare fuel in a bottle. The smell? Overwhelmingly pungent. The taste? Often compared to gasoline, with a hint of rodent. It's definitely not for the faint of heart, or for anyone with a working gag reflex. Number 1. Snake Wine. Popular in Vietnam, China, and parts of Southeast Asia, this ancient drink is exactly what it sounds like. A venomous snake, soaking in rice wine. Sometimes it's a cobra, sometimes it's more than one. And yes, sometimes they're still alive when dropped into the bottle. The alcohol neutralizes the venom, but the visual? That's 100% intimidation. Traditionally, snake wine is believed to cure all kinds of things. Rheumatism, hair loss, fatigue, and of course, a lack of virility. Need a little extra kick? Some recipes add scorpions, herbs, or other mystery ingredients.